This podcast contains some magical adult language. Listener discretion is advised. And sorry, Mom.
I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to...
Whoa. You're not Mickey Mouse, you're a rat.
Rat smack! Besides, they're tourists. What do they know?
Welcome to Rat Castle, a progressive chat about Disney magic without the pixie dust. I am your most unfavorable mix for attendance, Nathan Hartman. And with me today, we have a small crew. It is Victoria. Hello, Victoria.
Hi.
And hello, Saara. How are you doing? You found your car.
Hello. Yes, I found my car in the depths of East LA. So it's been recovered, thankfully. What they did in it, I don't want to know, but it is safe and sound.
I kind of want to know.
I know.
Don't worry. Semen comes out fairly easy from what I'm told.
Ooh, I low-key saw some stains. I'm kind of worried, but
Low-key.
and some earrings. I saw earrings in there, stains. They even went to Target. Like there was a lot going on in that car.
Target.
They went to Target. They bought the Target. What is it like their fitness brand? They bought like a jacket, and then there was two jackets in the car. Like it was a very weird scene.
It's not cool right now in LA.
It was like the light athletic jackets. Like I was very confused.
Maybe they had sex in your car and then went on a jog.
Maybe,
and then they slept in your car and smoked some crack.
They definitely smoked something.
They definitely smoked something. So we're happy for Saara and her car. And that's it, people. This is us three tonight. Dave is on vacation. He thinks he needs a vacation. Can you believe it? And then everyone sent some good vibes to Janine because she has got the COVID. She's doing fine and her family's fine. But clearly coming on a podcast and talking about stuff is not what you want to do when you're in the middle of that. So we wish her all the best. Well, tonight we got some interesting topics. We're going to get right into them. Of course, I'm going to hand it over to Victoria to talk a little bit about some stuff going on with Disney Genie news. We had a lot of different calls this week. We had an earnings call, and we had Chapek was on cable news chatting about stuff. So we had all these different venues for the corporate Disney culture to say dumb things. So it's a fun evening. Starting with some Genie news. Tell us how it's getting easier, right? It's much easier to use Disney Genie now, right, Victoria?
So easy that they had to put out 6 videos to explain how to use it and what it is. Let me elaborate. So it's I don't even know where to begin with this, but so obviously guests aren't necessarily happy with it. With Genie Plus, it's kind of making it more complicated to even just go about your day. So Disney decided, you know what's going to make it better? We're going to put out 6 videos to explain the system to guests. Me personally, if you need 6 videos to explain your system, it's not a good system. So yeah, I'm just like, I looked at the titles. It's okay. That's all I can really say about.
Where did they even release them? Are they like on YouTube?
They're on the app.
Interesting. Because each of these videos is like a minute long. They could have just made a 6 or 10-minute video and posted it to YouTube.
Yeah,
and just made it simple.
Here's the thing: they already did this.
Yes, they did.
They did?
Mm-hmm.
They did this before the I think a month or so before the service came out. So I'm like, so you're doing it again?
And not just that, like all the bloggers that kind of like report on this type of stuff, they've already made their how-to videos and their tips and tricks videos. So at this point, it just kind of feels redundant. Like it doesn't even really need to be a thing.
But at the same time, clearly there's a need. We have the, and it's hard, I think, in our bubble to like really strip our brains of this, but like there are literally people that go to Disney World and don't follow any Disney news. They're just there. True. And they're just someone's uncle, and they
for the
know.
Good vibes.
Yeah,
literally last week when I told you my cousin went and knew.
Oh yeah, how did that go?
It went fine. They went, okay, it was perfectly fine, and they even went to Universal. I was like, good for you.
Okay,
good. At least it was a good enough experience.
They did ask what Disney Genie Plus was, and I was like, don't even bother. You got like kids that are 8. You literally have children that are like 8 years old. Just take them to Fantasyland.
Yeah, whatever's open, just do that.
Yeah,
just do it.
But of course, this is a service according to Disney. Everyone's using. It's the hot new thing, Disney Plus. How many people are they saying using Disney Plus, Victoria?
They are saying as of now, as of the earnings call, almost 50% of guests are using Disney Genie Plus, according to ShapeHack. So diving into that, back in February, during that call, they stated that 50% of guests were using it during the busy holiday season, which I can attest to because I saw it at both Disney World and Disneyland in the same month that they debuted.
Sure.
So they were using it, but I also can understand that they don't know what the fuck they were buying. It was very evident.
Yeah. Hence the 6 videos.
Hence the 6 videos.
And it's not even are they using it or are they just buying it? Because like you can buy the service and you're not even actually using it effectively.
I mean, based on the guest relations line that I saw, I think people were buying it.
Yeah.
It was just like you can just like go through a fast track lane like Universal.
It's like Fast Pass or something too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Fast Pass, and you could just do that. And they didn't realize, you got to do all this shit on your phone. But today, during the call, they said the baseline usage of Disney Genie Plus by guests is 50% now.
So what that actually means, we just got to read into it, right? The baseline usage, which means only at the baseline tap house are 50% of the people using the Genie Plus for baseline tap house. I think that's probably more accurate.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, during the holidays, I get it.
Sure.
I get it. But now I'm kind of like, somehow I don't believe that.
Like at this point, I don't even think you can get on a ride really without Genie Plus. Like at least in Disneyland.
I would say Disneyland. I mean, I literally was at Hollywood Studio today. I didn't wait for stuff. So I didn't do Smugglers. I didn't do Rise, but I did Star Tours twice. I did Runaway Railway. I did Toy Story Mania.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, went to the Indiana Jones Stunt Show. Like,
yeah,
there was plenty that I could do without using any sort of plus. But that's because we have enough space here.
No, now that you're mentioning that, because when I went in December, I had a similar experience, and it was like the holiday season. Like I literally just walked onto everything except Mission Breakout. I
mean, I think it depends if you're savvy. I really do. I think like we knew we got there early and sort of were like, okay, we're gonna do Rise, but the resort guests were already there and it was kind of big and stayed big. We're smart enough to know the difference between like them saying 60, which is actually 40. Like most people don't think that way, and we lucked out in that kind of way. I don't disagree with these numbers necessarily, but for me, it's sort of like being a part of like, I don't know, the end times. And so you have to buy a gun so people don't like rob your last like thing of gas and water. And then the news being like, guns are up, people are buying more guns. Well, yeah, you don't have much of a choice. Like
that was such a morbid analogy. Like,
well, if you're going to survive, right? And for us, like we've understood the wasteland, right? Like we know we're all Mad Max in it. We get it. So we're able to like skip the fast pass for the Thunderdome. We get it. But other people literally think they need it. Like I can't, this will be a terrible experience if I don't use this thing. They may only use it once. I don't know if they're good at using it. But they've sort of, when you make a whole thing where it's basically like, you need this if you're going to have a good time. And you're pretty much, everyone said that. And I don't agree with that assessment, but at the same time, I can see that implementation kind of desire from a bunch of people that don't know what's going on, and Disney just goes, well, we can get you on stuff faster if you just pay us more. They're like, oh, okay. So
then it alleviates the need to do research, because then you have like the little forecast that tells you what rides to go to and how long the waits are. Like, so I get the appeal. It's just confusing as shit for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, if they just added lightning lanes inside that agenda and just said, you have, like, here's your schedule, like you're gonna do this today, like that'd be much simpler. The way that it used to be when you planned it like months in advance of just having your fast passes ready and then just going.
Right. I think as pass holders, there definitely is you can go into the parks and have a good time. Like I can go into Disneyland and not even have to ride a ride, just walk around. Like I'll have a great time. But if I'm coming in and I'm spending X amount of money on like this once in a while trip, whether it be a couple times a year, once in a lifetime, it does feel like there is that pressure to get Genie Plus to max it, because it's quote unquote maximizing the time in the park. But not really, because like you guys were saying, you have to be savvy in order to even know how to utilize it well. And like one of the last visits, I got on Rise at like 9 p.m. and it was a walk-on. Like it was a straight up walk-on. But not everybody knows that. So it's like there are certain things that you have to, like tips and tricks and things that you know to be able to really navigate the park. Yeah. And I just think that that's very frustrating as just like a casual goer. Like it shouldn't be this complicated.
No,
I agree.
And that's the thing is most queues used to be visible.
Yeah.
So if you look at like the older rides, like you could kind of just tell, like there's really no hiding how many people are waiting for It's a Small World. But now everything is like, I think, I mean, this goes as far back as Indy, if not farther back for Disneyland, but like you don't know how long that queue is. It's like it disappears in this door and who knows. And I think that it's hard for people to just guesstimate like they used to. And so they do rely on the technology in a way that they didn't have to in the past. And the manipulation of the wait times, which they are legally allowed to do because it's in the fine print, but it's not used for guest advantage. Like, why say Rise is 60 when it's 45? Like, I don't know. I guess it's just a way of controlling things. But again,
I mean, according to the earnings call, it's to smooth everything over and
I don't know what is smoothing
capacity.
over. It just
Right.
like
What
I don't know
is
what
that
it's
exactly?
doing. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't
Just
know.
basically like moving around capacity to make sure like everything's alleviated. But I'm like, if that's the lie you want to go with, I guess.
Well, and what were the good quotes from the earnings call? There was a couple, right? There was the one, of course, I said here at the forefront, how we were a
Unfavorable.
unfavorable mix of AP, which is I don't know. I felt kind of like a dig. I know that there
It
were some
was a
people
dig. That was just saying fuck y'all. Like it really
Yeah.
was. Like
In so many words, they basically said like we don't give a fuck about pass holders. Like maybe
Yeah.
when the guests with tickets stop buying tickets, we'll let y'all in. But until then,
which
y'all
is
can just
crazy
sit.
because pass holders I feel like are so integral to the, at least in Disneyland, like it's so integral to like the park. Like they make
Yeah.
up about 68 if not more percent of like the daily goers.
Well,
So-
Disneyland is a locals park.
Exactly.
Which is insane to me.
And you guys are still waiting for Magic Key to reopen. Like
I
they're
don't
doing
even know if I'm
everything.
gonna do it at this point.
I don't know why you would.
I haven't even gone in like a minute. Like I have been paying for the past couple of months and I've only gone maybe 3 times. Like
Yeah.
Well, it's because
it's
you
ridiculous.
can't get a reservation and then you get penalized if you don't go to that reservation. But in the earnings call, they said they have high revenue, but the attendance is down because they have not enough guests with tickets going in.
Right.
And they have too many annual pass holders going in, but that makes no sense because one, you have the park pass reservation system, and two, like annual pass holders can't even get in.
Yeah, don't blame us. It's your system.
It's your system.
Yeah.
And they talk about demand, but it's like you see that there's a demand from pass holders to get into the park and you're not working with that demand. Like it doesn't really make sense how you consistently just like spit on the face of pass holders, like Shapeck is doing this, and as if they don't provide like any value or do anything for the parks in general.
Yeah.
It's like at this point, you guys are just pushing them away.
I think that's what they want, though.
Yeah, they do, but at the same time, like we were this close to having a recession, and I think
Yeah.
we're okay now.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I tell you who you want around during a recession. It's going to be AP people. Like,
Yeah.
they're the ones that are going to keep you around because we've seen those days. We remember those. We remember the subprime mortgage crisis.
When I was working there, they would always talk about how like APs saved Disneyland right after 9/11. Like they
Yep.
consistently talked about those days, like 9/11, like 2008. Like those were major moments where APs showed up for the park. And it's like, why are you not appreciating them in the ways that other parks appreciate their annual pass holders? Like Victoria, I saw your tweet about Universal. Like Universal is having their appreciation days coming up
Oh, yeah,
soon.
and they said it the same day
So-
of that announcement.
Yeah, and like Disneyland is like, oh, here's a 10% off at Jamba Juice in downtown Disney. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do with that? Like, be for real. Like,
I think you're going to get a Jamba Juice. is what
I am
think.
gonna get the Jamba Juice. I'm not gonna lie, the Blue Sky smoothie is pretty good.
But gang,
but-
don't worry. We got activations all around the Synergy machine. So
I was
What
so
the
lost
fuck
on
does
that meme.
even mean?
for those who don't know, but I'm trying to find the exact quote, but basically Bob Chapek said for the Disney Plus day. First of all, I love that they're doing another Disney Plus day, which is like, have you been to your parks? What it is a Disney Plus day. Like every day is a Disney Plus day. You have banners everywhere. It's like Hollywood Studios. There's like 1,000 Disney Plus banners everywhere. Like he came out and said that they were going to, for that day, they're going to have mini activations all around their Synergy machine.
That sounds like some scary ass shit. Like, what does that mean? Like, I don't get that.
What does that mean?
Like,
Is that,
he's such
are
a
they gonna
robot.
are they gonna raise the prices early? Like, I'm confused.
I know that activations is their new thing, right? They call everything activations. So parades are activations now. Meet and greets are
Okay.
activations. So
We'll see what happens. They're saying they're gonna raise these theme park prices, but
yes, and let's talk a little bit about that. So Chapek had, as I said, he was on cable news. on oh, we just talked about this. Which channel was he on? He was on
CNBC.
CNBC. Yes,
some-
not MSNBC and not BCB.
Too many acronyms.
Too many. So anyway, he was on Big Boy Business cable channel, and he had some things to say about why. So literally, the person said to him, "Right, Twitter's mad at you." That's literally what was said to him, and his response was, "What, Victoria?"
This lovely quote here. We're at a level of sophistication with our pricing that not only does it maximize shareholder value, but it enables us to provide a value to guests no matter what time of the year they want to come. It's all up to the consumer. If consumer demand keeps up, we'll act accordingly. If we see a softening, which we don't think we're going to see, then we can act accordingly as well.
In conclusion, fuck y'all. That's literally what it is. Like, what?
Pretty much.
Some casual capitalist gaslighting of you guys keep spending money, so it's your fault.
Literally.
But then you just said like 800 years ago you were broke.
Yeah, right. I remember that point too. Yeah. I'm fascinated by this quote because it shows this level of, I don't know, soullessness. I mean, it's not the first time we've said that about Bob Chapek, but it's just this casual way of sort of being like, well, I don't know, you guys keep coming. We're just gonna keep raising prices until you all stop coming. And so what does that mean for Disney? Like, what does it mean? You're going to get your Galactic Star Cruiser people. And if your park is only those people, your quality has now become so low because there's so complicated. They're just going to go to they're just going to go to an island.
I mean, they really are pushing that luxury market, like with the Adventures by Disney thing, and they got influencers trying to get people to buy VIP tours, which are $7,000, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is not going to happen. Like, no. But I'm like, that's my point. I'm like, you're trying to get a luxury market to come here, but you're also forgetting the average consumer.
That they're not providing luxury product. Like, I feel like that's something too. Like, if I'm going to be paying these prices, like, I don't want to walk into I don't want to see sanitary products on the floor in Disney. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, I don't want to see walls peeling off. Like, I don't want to see trash cans that are overfilled. Like, I don't want to see that.
And the issue is, of course, that this is short-term profits for long-term problems, because you're going to have a generation, and again, this is a fraction of a percentage opposed to like a wave, but they're going to lose a section of people who went every 5 years, every 3 years, and their kids get used to it, and then those kids want to take their kids. That's going to die out for certain price range people, and because of that, like, there's going to be a struggle in 15 to 20 years.
Yeah,
I would agree.
If they're not considering that, they are betting that their cultural power is big enough to dissuade like legacy issues, and I think that's a bad call. So we'll see what happens.
Personally, I really hope they come with something really sick as fuck out of their pockets when D23 comes, because otherwise Epic Universe and Nintendo World is gonna come for them.
Yeah,
I think this is Universal's decade. Like, Universal's really going to eat them up, because at this point, when it comes to Disney, they're not really providing what they should be. They're missing out on a huge generation, like a huge block of people that I don't even think Gen Z is really that interested in Disney parks in general. I don't think that they find any value in it. Like, you don't see, I think that Disney is definitely catering to that millennial market, which makes sense because they're the ones who have money. I think that they are missing out on a whole generation that's not going to be taking their kids to Disney, that's not even going to Disney themselves because they can't even afford it right now.
Well, and Gen Z is known for being more fiscally conservative.
Exactly, because they're 30% more in debt. So like, we are struggling out here. And I think the reason that I fell in love with Disneyland during like when I was like I'm still in my early 20s, but like, it was very cheap. I remember the first pass that I had was like $30 a month. Like, I was able to go into the parks for $30 a month, and now that's impossible.
That's crazy. That's what I paid for my Universal pass.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. I hope that they begin to understand like that, like you said, short-term goals for long-term issues. So I don't know. We'll see.
We'll find out. But there is some good news. There is some things that they are doing culturally that I think are pretty interesting. Victoria, we got some news about one of those new things.
So this one I actually really happy about. So, following the news a little while ago, where before the fireworks, I believe, or in pre-firework announcements, they would say dreamers of all ages instead of ladies and gentlemen. Cast members are going to now address people without assuming their gender, so they're not going to say sir or ma'am anymore. They're going to call everyone friend, which I think is honestly
It's cute.
great. I think it's fine because at the end of the day, I mean, guests, you want your guests to feel comfortable with you. So why not call them friend? And I mean, really, it's not okay to assume anyone's gender anyway. So
Right. I think and they talk about, I don't think they're always going to use friend. They say they have some other things that they're thinking of using and attempting, because it's one of those things where, like, if someone's fighting somebody, you don't want a cast member who's like, friend, 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 friend. You know, it doesn't work as well as, and I get it, but you know, in the same way, like, you cut off probably, we'll say, half of the people when you say sir or madam, because there's just a simple, like, okay, so they're not talking to me, and so the communication goes faster. I of course I have no issue with any of this. It's just going to be interesting to see them how communication flow shifts and how they have to change what they're doing to make that work. It's going to be more eye contact's going to be needed more before they say something, right? You can't call out as far. You know, if there's 3 people and one's identifies as male, you can't just yell sir and that one person's going to turn around because there's only 3 people. It's just going to be a little more complicated, and that's perfectly fine. That's the part of communication. It's always interesting when theme parks end up being the ones who are kind of, I don't want to say the word play testing, but from a communication standpoint, dealing with the scenarios that we don't deal with every day, and they're getting them hundreds of times a day of going, okay,
True.
this word now works for this word doesn't. I think we'll see a sort of a mix of figuring out, okay, here's a good word for being aggressive and inclusive, and here's a good word for, yeah, it's going to take some time, but I'm happy that they're making the call. I think it's a smart move, and we'll see how it works out. But yeah, it's nice.
it's a small change. I'm still not forgiving them for the don't say gay thing though.
Right. And we have some interesting. I mean, the love pride banner mural is still up at Magic Kingdom, because they're like, hey guys, we're sorry, because they forgot they love money, and
But you know who's not giving them money is the annual pass holders. So
Oh, for real.
yeah, that's true.
No.
That's true.
I'll never get over that. Unfavorable. That just rubs me like I was just like, I can't believe you said that. Like, that's so rude. So rude. Like, this is like in my face. Like, you're really gonna say that? Like,
It's
it was
rude.
just,
I mean, at least they're saying the quiet part out loud. No?
It's nice. At least it's refreshing in that sense.
yeah, it's in your face. It's nice.
Speaking of what is in people's faces, sometimes that is stairs. Victoria, you have some news for us on a recent incident at the parks. What a segue, huh? For all those who can't hear, Victoria
She's dying.
She can't help it. She's
How
dying.
did you segue it like that?
Because I'm weird. I'm dark.
This was a serious matter, but
I've broken. She's very fragile today, folks. If you can hear, there's a little more echo than normal for Victoria because she's
It's the
currently
heat.
in her bathroom, just recording, hopefully, because your AC is out, correct?
correct, and they're not gonna fix it until next weekend. That's not even guaranteed. So,
Oh.
So fans everywhere else, and we get her in the bathroom. So,
yep.
but so she's a broken
So-
individual. People, it's okay.
It's been a rough week.
It's been a rough week.
So
So,
what
especially
happened?
especially for this person.
Yeah, what
They had a
happened to
rough
this
fall.
poor guest?
So I only learned about this recently. Apparently, people are hurting themselves going down the exit stairs of Cosmic Rewind. I'm not sure what the layout is because I haven't done it yet. I'll do it next month though. But
Sure.
there's an
Well, let
incident-
me give that layout if
Oh.
it's helpful. So you exit and then you go upstairs and then immediately go back downstairs. Because if you think about it, what you're doing is underneath those stairs is the track. The track is making the turn there into the
Oh,
a load area. So it splits, and so you have to go up and then you go back down, and the exit is right there. So it's a fairly simple process. And that sort of staircase up and down system you can see in certain roller coasters that gets used because it's a good way of compacting space. But that's the overall layout. So the stairs, as I think it's basically one big flight, but it's like a flight, and no, it's two. It's a flight and then kind of a long I don't know what to call it, like a landing and then another flight. So
I had heard people were getting dizzy and like kind of getting
Mhm.
motion sick, but not to this extent. So this person was with their mother, and the mother was holding on to like the handrail of the stairs, and I guess like her shoe got stuck and she fell down 5 steps and hit her face on the railing. So she ended up having injuries from her head and her nose, and she was like in pain, obviously. Cast member came and was like trying to make sure she was okay until Reedy Creek came. And guests were still going by apparently. They were like offered her,
gotta get off that
like,
ride.
They have a lightning lane
offered-
right after. Sorry.
Yeah, we gotta keep moving.
Money, you know.
Cosmic Rewind's not gonna close for
Yeah.
for this. Keep
I
the
mean,
wagon
like,
trains
gotta keep
moving.
Gotta keep it moving.
Food
gotta-
and
gotta-
wine. They had a bunch of stuff going on that day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, we know they've moved more trash cans to the exit, or the exit of the ride. People really seem to be. I've ridden that thing 7+ times now. I've had no issues at all. But again, people can have issues.
What's that one ride in Epcot? The other one.
The other ride in Epcot, that's actually
Mission
pretty
Space?
good because there's not that many.
Yes, Mission Space.
Oh, Mission
That ride,
Space. I thought you meant Test
never
Track for a
again,
second. I was
never
like, wait.
again.
I feel like I would have more issues. I would be more dizzier on that one because that's technically like an actual simulator versus this one where you're just kind of spinning. But again,
Except
I
your
haven't
eyes are
ridden it.
actually a part of the equation in Cosmic, whereas your eyes are sort of fixed on
Oh.
a screen. And because that is not moving, you don't have the same imbalance issues. I don't know what the answer to this is. I think it's that we take a wave of people that it's just going to take some time. It's like Mission Space, right? Like it takes a generation of getting green and throwing up and getting dizzy and then going, nope, I don't go on that anymore. And then they tell their friends and their friends are like, oh, okay, at least I know now. And there's a level of information that gets passed around or decided. So, I don't think that falling down these stairs is going to become a regular thing.
But they're saying that she's like the fourth, I guess, victim of these stairs because like there have been multiple people that have had broken ankles. She herself, the mother, had like
Injuries are pretty bad, but also how
They're
old
bad.
is she? There's several factors to each
Yeah.
situation you have to
Yeah.
consider. Like how old was she? Should she have actually had help going down the stairs? Like,
and there's an
did she have
elevator.
pre-existing condition?
Oh, there is?
is there?
Okay.
See, there you go.
Yeah, because they have to get the wheelchairs down in some sort of way.
I just feel like they
Sure.
should have a cast member maybe put in that spot. Who am I gonna catch? Be for real. Like I'm not
I
catching
pictured
anybody.
you do.
In Florida, come on now. Like I'm sorry, I'm not catching anybody. Like
No.
He
it's
said,
not
just give me
happening.
the reprimand.
Let me put my 2 weeks in before.
We need to we'll keep one side as stairs and then we'll make a slide for the other side. I think we all agree we'd all be much
Yeah.
happier. At least give us the option. I think all malls and areas in the world should have just accommodated slides.
I just feel like the slide is gonna be sweaty though. It'd be like a water slide at that point.
Oh, gross.
Ew.
Like think
I
about it.
cannot.
Like that's just gonna be
Nasty.
gross. And plastic in the heat, like gross. Or metal, like if you're gonna be sliding because to fit the aesthetic of the
That's
ride.
true. But you have some nice AC in there, so maybe
Yeah.
get some of that grody off.
But like, why didn't they think about this? I feel like this is like, I don't know, maybe like I get it, maybe the layout of the ride, like you were saying that there's stuff underneath the stairs, but like you would think that a ride with spinny stuff, maybe don't add stairs, like just in case.
Maybe don't use an old ass building to do this. This is
True.
this is always the design problem,
True.
right? They try to
Yeah.
refurb stuff and then they're like, we're gonna put the best ride in the world in this new thing, and then it screws up and it's not as good. It's like when you do something new, right? When you do something like I'm trying to think of a Flight of Passage, and you're smart enough to go, oh, we're gonna need a bathroom, like in this queue. And you put
Yeah.
one in there, and here's water fountains, and stuff. There are things you can't do because you don't have the ability when you have, like, here's your building. Ellen used to
Limited
be in
space.
here, and now it's yours. What are you gonna do with it? So,
Ellen?
I mean, that was Ellen's Energy Adventure.
Yeah, that
before
was
Cosmic
Ellen.
Rewind,
Oh, yeah,
so,
you're right. You're right. All right.
yeah. Do we still talk about Ellen? She's canceled. So,
Yeah, she's canceled, I guess.
yeah,
Oh,
Ellen.
her
RIP.
show was canceled.
I
Yeah,
don't know if she's canceled for real, for real. You know, they always come back.
I think she's
Who
just
knows?
like, I don't think she was ever like canceled. I think she was just like, she's not cool
Yeah.
anymore, right?
Yeah.
She's kind of a jerk.
I mean, I guess so. They got rid of her ride.
Yes, that was the reason. But they foresaw it. They asked
They
their
foresaw
oracle.
it to the point of not having her voice Dory in the parks. this was thought out.
Yes, that was definitely the reason, and not budgetary.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
they thought this. See, Disney's smart. They know what
Yeah.
they're doing.
They asked the Oracle. Walt's head. They just went down and talked to Walt,
Oh,
foreseeing the future. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go on over to the West Coast for
oh my God,
not
the
a- there's
Oracle of Walt.
the
Sorry,
Oracle of Walt. Yeah. There's
The
not a lot
Oracle
of
of Walt.
there's not
I'm
a lot
about
of
to
news
turn
this
that
week.
into my Twitter bio name.
The Oracle of Walt.
The Oracle.
That should be the name of a new Disney blog. I'm telling y'all, we just came up with something.
You can join us all at oracleofwalt.com. I will tell you what the future 6 months hold. We are going to do some oracling in a little bit, so stay tuned for that. But
Yeah.
before we get there, we have not a lot of news this week from Disneyland. Again, D23 is a month away, and people have decided they're not going to release anything. So it's a lot of just kind of small stuff. But this is important for not really guest experience, but cast member experience. So tell us what's going on over there, Saara.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have heard, but over the past couple of months, there has been a battle with the attendance policy over at Disneyland. So there has been talks about cast members not showing up for a lot of their shifts. There has been a cast member shortage, all these different things that it's been noticeable in the parks. So I guess Disneyland's solution to that is an entirely new attendance policy that is unbelievably ridiculous to the cast members, considering that the policy prior to that was somewhat lenient. Like with working at Disneyland, it's very tedious. It's a hassle to get to the parks. Like you literally have to like be there 2 hours before your shift sometimes. I'm sure it's worse at Disney World because of the space and all that. But basically this new policy has a couple of things. It used to be a point system. So whenever you would hit a certain point number, whether it be like 12 points in 6 months or 18 points and whatever, that's when you would get disciplinary action. But now it's no longer a point system. Instead, it's basically attendance infractions at a specific set of time. So for full-time cast members, it's every 25 hours that you miss, that's considered an infraction. And for part-timers, it's every 17 hours. That's considered an infraction. And tardies are tracked separately. There's different amounts of unexcused time for full-time cast and part-time cast. And their supplementary sick pay is not received like at a certain amount of time. So you used to be able to use 2 hours of sick pay to cover an entire day, an entire shift, but now you have to use that entire shift time. So that because of that 2 hour time or that 2 hour points thing, you were given 24 hours as a part-timer to use throughout the year. And you could use, essentially you had 12 shifts that you can miss if you used it correctly, but now you only have 3 that you can miss. So it's a complete different way of doing it. It's very confusing. Cast members are only allowed to trade up to 3 days off, like 2 off to another cast member. And it's confusing to a lot of cast members because they see it as there's like a whole new system, but there's 2 different metrics from the previous system. So as you can see, it's a lot. The policy is a lot. It's very confusing. It's very frustrating to a lot of cast members. They just see it as very unfair. The union has gone back and forth with Disney multiple times, and Disney does not want to waiver whatsoever because they see it as essentially the only way to keep cast members. But there have been talks that this has already happened in 2005, and that led to a huge layoff of cast members. So this is an issue. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. If you have any,
Giving Disney Genie Plus.
it's just as confusing. It's
Like-
very confusing. I tried to take as much notes, but like there's so much in there, and everybody's mad at the union because they feel like they didn't really fight as hard.
Hmm.
But what can you do? Like
Yeah.
there's
Right.
really
Like
nothing
if
you do.
if the other side's not going to negotiate, they can only do so much.
Yeah.
It's a choice, I guess. Like I get it, but then at the same time, it makes no sense because you're currently in a cast member shortage, and if your cast members don't understand the new system, then you're gonna punish them for lack of knowledge.
It just doesn't leave any leeway. Like there's no it doesn't feel like they'll be able to kind of accommodate certain cast members or like certain situations. Like you used to be able to take 5 days off and get 3 points. That's it. But now every single one of those days that you take off is considered an infraction. Like that's considered a shift that you missed instead of 1 for 5.
And then
Now
you
it's
can
5.
only trade 3 shifts, you said?
Yeah, you could only trade with, so like if someone has a day off and you want that day off, you could only give it away 3 times a year. Like that's ridiculous. Like you can
I feel like that's basically slave labor at that point. Like, when are you gonna get a
Right.
break? Like, how do
Yeah.
you arrange a week off for yourself? That's,
They're saying to just put it in. They're just saying to put in that PTO and hope that like they'll give you the day off, but you don't even know if they will. So you're
That's
kind of
That's
screwed.
crazy.
insane. That's insane. Because like when I was working there, they literally had no issue. Like there was
Yeah.
one time I took 1 week off because I just wasn't feeling well,
Yeah.
and it was not an issue. So now they
Yeah.
like, what if someone's not feeling well? What if they need a mental health day?
I mean, you
Yeah.
mentioned staff shortages earlier, and that's sort
Mhm.
of this is why you have this new policy. Like
Exactly.
the idea is now like, okay, well, we need people and we can't get people because we're not employee friendly anymore. And it's not a great place to work. And so they are holding the fire to the people whose feet they have because they can't seem to get anyone in the door. And it's not a good scene because, as you were saying, like, you're not going to get other people in the door because no one wants to be under that kind of heat. So
There's no perks to working there. Like you can't even get it. Like the perk of being able to sign yourself into the park, you can't even do that anymore.
yeah,
Like there's so many blockout days to where there used to be none. Like
Oh, yeah, I
working.
forgot about that.
Yeah, like when I used to work there, all those perks were one of the reasons why I was like, you know what, it's worth the hassle. Like it's worth
Mhm.
having to get here 2 hours early. It's worth the costumes. It's worth the guests. But at this point, like if you go work at Target, you'll get a better
Yeah.
attendance policy. Like this is an awful attendance policy.
Probably get better pay too, to be honest.
For
Yeah.
real.
And I think the thing here too is, and you, something that was sort of during the earnings call, there was talk of, well, demand is so high, we don't have any, all our parks are just like to the gills, and we're trying to fluctuate the reservation system to make it work better. You can go on there right now, and every day this month is available. Like,
Yeah.
it's nonsense, right? So they've created this false. It's not that cast members can't go to the parks. It's that they don't want to let the cast members go to
Yeah.
the parks. You can't blame COVID anymore for
Mhm.
acting this way. This isn't wartime anymore, people. Like, you have to give, and this is the problem with, of course, American business, right? They found a time in emergency to have emergency powers. We're going to strip all this away because we have to. It's an
It's
emergency.
like a martial law vibe.
Right. And then
It
it's
really
like, but we're
is.
never going to give you any of this back. Right. And that's just nonsense. And they can keep blaming. And again, I wasn't looking at the Disneyland reservations or
They're available.
blackouts, but
No, they're available.
They're available.
yeah.
I
And
only
so-
know because I had to check for my own trip.
Right. And that's the thing, is like, we are now layers deep in it's basically a joke. We made it up. We won't tell you. We won't tell you if the park is actually full of people or if it's not. We're not going to tell you if this line is actually very long or it's not. But just buy as much as you can from us, and we can guarantee you'll get on something.
It's manufactured scarcity at this point. Like it's
It really
not,
is.
100%.
It's not real.
No,
Like
that
they'll
park.
tell you things are selling out. It'll be back in a week.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
that
like-
park to this day is not as crowded as it was several years
Yeah.
ago.
At
And-
all.
No,
But it
and I'm
fills
not
it.
saying that I want it to be that crowded. I don't. Here's a weird thing. I don't hate a reservation system. I really don't, as long as it's flexible and makes
Exactly.
sense.
Yeah.
And if that was the case, if the moment that they need more because people want to pay, they just always seem to turn on the faucet and they suddenly have more, right? Like
Mhm.
it's all this fakery, and because of that, it just seems impossible to get a real grip. Anytime they have these earnings calls or anything, they're like, we made more money because we made everyone pay more, right? Like they don't say the stuff out loud. It's like, well, attendance is down, but we also manipulated it so that
Yeah.
people couldn't come when they wanted to. And like you are and this is very much a Chapek thing. You are creating a image for shareholders that suggests that people are gripping at the gates and screaming and wanting in, when the reality is it's not that hard to get into the parks, even in the system that you've created. So
Mhm.
I don't know. It's frustrating, and when you use those kind of excuses to as a ruse to also like take away the rights that have been given to cast members for
Yeah.
decades at Disneyland, that's horrid. And it's
the frustrating and sad part is like at this point they've made cast members feel like they're replaceable because
Mhm.
Disneyland is the largest employer like in Orange
Yes.
County. So there will always
Even though they're
be-
not, because they need people, they can't get them.
they do. Well, the problem is because right before COVID, there was a hiring freeze for like 6+ months. They weren't hiring anybody. So
That's
that was
right.
the issue. So then when they had all those layoffs and all those people kind of went and did their own thing, like they laid off, I think, what was it, like 10,000 people? So at that point, now you're going to have to rehire all those people, and you're hiring people that might not necessarily meet the standard of a cast member because you're just kind of hiring quickly. And that's
Mhm.
going to get worse and worse because now they're going to have so much of a turnover. There's
Yeah.
going to be cast members that are constantly filtering through, and that's going to affect not only the cast members that have been there for such a long time and take pride in their work and their job, it's going to affect the guests that are going in that are not going to be getting the actual they're not going to be getting premium service or the
Yeah.
premium cast member anymore. Not saying that the ones that are there are not premium, but it takes time to learn to be a cast member. It takes time to navigate the park and all the intricacies of like everything about being a cast member. It's a difficult job. So when you're firing people that have only been there for 3 months to hire another person because of this bullshit ass attendance policy,
Yeah.
it's just not going to work. It's going to be awful all around, and I
Yeah.
think that it's going to all catch up to them soon. So
It's not going to last very long, I don't think, and
Yeah.
it certainly isn't going to last once the unions are actually up for renegotiation. So
and I hope they
Um,
do something this
True.
time, because this no offense to the union right now, they have not been like I don't know, it just doesn't really seem like they're fighting that hard, like even when the
Right.
wages was an issue, like a
Mhm.
The
couple
wages
of-
thing was disgusting.
it was rough. Like
Yeah.
I don't really understand the point of a union at this point, because they're not really doing what they're supposed to do. Like
Yeah.
it's not like, it doesn't feel like there's any protections like
Right.
negotiating against Disney like that.
Well, and as to paraphrase a classic movie line, like face it, Jake, it's Orange County. Like there's
Yeah.
Orange County is like it's run by one person, and that's Walter Elias Disney himself. So, but anyway, we're gonna leave that and talk a little more broad about. We were talking earlier about the. Victoria, you're not giving Disney a pass for saying nothing really about the Don't Say Gay bill here in Florida. But of course, there is some new news out, Saara, dealing with both Disney and Universal and another piece of legislation.
Yeah. So we currently have up in this, it's going up for consideration in the Senate, the Respect for Marriage Act, and that's essentially going to codify gay marriage, interracial marriage, all types of marriage into law. And the Walt Disney Company and Comcast and NBC Universal have declared their support. So
Right.
they had a letter, sent it to representatives, and said, "We love the gays." So
Yeah.
that's what they said.
We're still giving money to fascists under the table, but
Yeah.
like
We
don't
love
mind
the
that.
gays, but here's a little something.
A little
You know?
something.
It is interesting to see Universal speak out because a lot of people were kind of calling their shit for
Mhm.
not speaking at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
I weirdly find Universal to be a worse silent partner in the Don't Say Gay bill than Disney. Disney screwed it up and then at least sort of like backtracked and kind of lost
But,
Green
like,
Creek for
Universal
5
did
minutes or something. Universal was like,
nothing.
"You take this, boo. I'm out.
Right.
I'm gonna sit back and."
Like, you got this, Disney.
I'm wondering if it's not Universal more so, if it's more so Comcast.
Well, yeah.
Mm,
Well, it's the overarching companies because it was the Disney company and then Comcast, right?
Yeah. But of course, Florida politics is a lot smaller than something that's broad like this. I can imagine both companies wanting something like this nationally. I think it makes total sense. And then realizing kind of the, I don't know, the machinations of local state politics are a lot different for a state law. So it's messy. I don't want to, can we give them like a B+ for doing this? It's kind of like, congrats, you did the right thing. Like,
It's the bare
you were
minimum.
supposed
I
to.
mean, it's the bare minimum. I mean,
Yeah.
But love is universal, Victoria. That's what I
love
want.
is universal. It is.
Yeah.
That's what it says on my shirt that I bought.
Look,
Also, something that's universal now in the streaming atmosphere is ad-supported streaming platforms. So now more people can watch stuff, and you can all enjoy that one Geico commercial 8 times in a row, and then next break you get a different Geico commercial.
Can we discuss how they announced it though?
Sure. Well, let's give a little information first before we get to that. Saara,
Give us the
lowdown on the new
So Disney Plus is launching a new ad version of it. So for a while now, we have all been getting Disney for the low, for I believe it was like $7.99 a month for no ads. And you could also bundle it up with Hulu and ESPN for like $10 or something like
I
that.
think it was
So it was
15.
15?
It's
Yeah,
13
so-
for me.
13.
It,
Alright.
they had
It's
so
a good
many
deal.
wild well, they had so many wild deals and 3-year contracts
Yeah.
and so many
Yeah, mine was
wild
through
stuff.
Verizon.
Yeah,
So-
so
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to pinpoint like what we all actually paid.
Let's say
I think-
7 to 15 for everybody. That seems to be the range.
Yeah, that sounds
So
good.
That's a nice round
around
range.
there. But now Disney said nope. So they're going to be adding ads. I'm kind of surprised they just barely added ads, but it's going to be $10.99 without ads a month, and it's going to be $7.99 with ads, and that'll be coming up in December 8th to be specific. But that is a from $7.99 to $10.99. That's a 38% increase. So
Yay.
it's pretty high. Like it's
Yeah.
really, really high.
We're
and
so confused why they did it, and they're only 3 years old.
Yeah, I mean,
Not even
it
3
makes
years old.
it makes sense because like a lot of streaming services have this, especially if they have like Hulu along with
Mhm.
it, and that's
Well, and
kind of had
it's-
ads for a minute.
Yeah, they had the Hulu model like,
True.
Yeah.
already. I don't
there.
understand why. I kind of don't understand why they didn't start with this, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like I'm surprised
That's
it kind of
true.
came. If to me, it feels a little late. Like I felt like it would have came out with ads from the get go.
Mhm.
But if you want to do Disney Plus, ESPN, and Hulu, it is $19.99 now.
yeah.
So it's a significant bump. And if you're adding that with all the tens of billions of streaming services that are out there, it's looking like cable prices. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to go back to cable, to be honest. At this
You might
point.
as well go back to cable because the whole point of streaming was to
That it was
not
cheap.
have ads. It
Yeah.
was cheap.
So we'll see where it goes in terms of pricing at this point.
Yeah, the thing is like, and this is I think why they're doing the ad supported system has been we can convince people that are month people who show up for Loki and then bounce and don't show up until they want to come back for another series they like, right?
Mm,
They can kind of be like, here's a price point that maybe you'll just stick with it and like be okay. I get that, I guess, but you guys are right. We're entering. Here's the thing: we're about to hit cable prices if you have everything, but I think
Yeah.
we're about to lose like 4 different services all at once in the next 5 years. So we
I'm
know
really
that.
pissed about the HBO thing.
Yeah, we know HBO
Yeah.
Max, of course, which is a great library, has been bought by the creators of Honey Boo Boo and have decided that I believe that was Discovery, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was TLC.
Yeah, it was Discovery.
TLC is a part of Discovery.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, they got everything.
You know what? They provided us 90 Day Fiance. I love that. They
Okay,
gave
but I
us
do
90
like 90 Day Fiance.
That's what
I
I'm
do
saying. So, like, they-
that.
Well, guys, if you didn't notice, that's one of their main universes that they have when they did the presentation. They have Batman, they have Superman, and they have the 90 Day Fiance universe is
No
what
way.
they call it.
Oh my
Yes.
god.
But yeah, we're gonna see how that all pans out, I should say. I think, if those first of all, we have who knows who owns what in 5 years, but some mergers and Peacock ain't gonna be around in 5 years.
I hope so. I
They're
like
gonna
all the
make-
Real Housewives.
They're gonna make more money just giving their content to third parties and Netflix than they are doing
Honestly,
their own
they would
stuff.
do well. They would do well to do that. Wow, that's a really big increase. I paid $14 for the bundle now.
Mm,
$19.99.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
1999
don't
$5
is
even
a
watch
month.
good.
ESPN. I don't even watch ESPN. That's not for my boyfriend.
Well, then boyfriend got a pony up, is what it
Yeah.
sounds like.
And he going to.
Yeah.
Like $7.99 was to me very reasonable because like a lot of what Disney Plus had was kind of just like an older archive, like a library. So it made
For-
sense. But now what
At
they
the
have
beginning.
at the
Yeah.
beginning,
At the
yeah.
beginning, yeah.
Now I can understand that increase. Like I'm not gonna sit here and lie. It is to me it seems like a fair increase considering the
I think
library
so.
that they're building up, all the phase whatever of Marvel and all the
Yeah.
billion shows that are coming out. Like it does make
True.
sense, but it's kind of like where are we gonna go from here? How much of an increase is it gonna be next year if you're gonna
Well,
go
and-
up 38%?
Yeah.
That's
comes
true.
there comes a point where there's I mean, they're not making any money. I don't think there's a lot of
Mhm.
like, it's weird how shareholder things work where they're like, all we got to do is it's got to seem like we're making money and then our stocks are fine. Like we got to show confidence, right? In our product. But like no streaming service really has made money, like Netflix is like so deep in the red. Like everyone just keeps spending money, but no one really knows what the game is to make money. And the problem is even at these numbers, these are like, pretty classic ad and premium kind of
Yeah.
numbers, you're not going to pay off your Marvel budget. Like, what is, I mean, the hope, I guess, is merch, right? Like, the hope is all these shows create a bunch of merchandise that we can then sell to kids and to nerds
Or
and
theme
stuff.
park entertainment.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess,
I
but even
mean,
that costs money on the front end.
Mm.
So it's interesting. Who knows where this ends
it
up.
makes me wonder why they're even doing Disney Plus days, kind of, because it's like, I mean,
Well, the new
like-
Disney Plus Day, which of course the activations they're doing all over the machine, is
The
basically
synergy
us
machine.
giving them an extra $4.
That's
Like,
crazy.
it's like,
they're just gonna
it's
stand there
like
and
good
go,
news, Disney
money
Plus Day.
please.
Bad news, you're gonna pay like $8 more.
Yeah. So
It is crazy.
I would say of any service, they have, how do I put it? They have enough kind of momentum in their content that it feels worth it. I'm always watching a Marvel show, right? I'm always watching a Star Wars show. Now, when the quality dips, we're gonna have a real big issue. Like if I keep getting more Book of Boba Fett, I'm not gonna, last.
Okay, like
So
Book of Boba Fett was really disappointing.
But that
Yeah, I
bubble is
really
gonna
agree.
burst soon. Like I
Mhm.
just at this point, like it's just very exhausting. Like it just Star Wars and Marvel. Like it's just
Yes.
Star Wars and Marvel
Like
streaming service.
honestly,
Like,
and
give me
the
something
occasional
else.
documentary.
Yeah,
Like,
and
the
the
occasional
occasional
Light
documentary, yeah.
Magic, yeah.
Yeah,
I
like,
did
some
enjoy
good
Light
nat-
Magic, by the way.
Okay,
Nice.
cool. And some good National Geographic stuff. I think they've
Yeah.
done really well kind of utilizing that as a property. But you're right. Like we'll see what happens. They have a right to do this. I don't disagree. But we'll see if they can keep up the desire to do that. Speaking of a thing they do not have a right to do, we have some casting announcements for Haunted Mansion. Guys, not the Haunted Mansion. This is Haunted Mansion. Cut the. It's cleaner, right? As the social network calls
it's minimal.
Yeah, Haunted Mansion is the new
It's
movie. So
edgy.
tell us about these casting rumors for the Haunted Mansion, Saara.
Oh my god. Let me start off with a nice one, I guess.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Jamie Lee Curtis is rumored, but I don't really think it's a rumor, is going to play Madame Leota. So that's pretty exciting. I think she'd be
Yeah.
a good fit.
When you have
It's okay.
yeah,
She has a very
scr-
animated face, so like
she
I
is
think
a-
that's what would work.
she's a scream queen icon.
True.
Like
It makes sense.
it kind of works. Let's all remember who played her last in a movie. It was Jennifer Tilly. So
Mhm.
we're not exactly downgrading.
Yeah.
here.
Question: This is no longer being done by Guillermo, correct?
This is not Guillermo del Toro's Haunted Mansion movie. This is not the Ryan Gosling movie that he was working on.
Fuck. Okay.
No,
Let me
this
brace
is
myself then.
I'm trying to remember who's all been rumored at this point. There's two we'll get to the big one in a second here once I look this up. But let's see here. The 2023 Haunted Mansion movie currently has cast apparently, this is of course they've not confirmed a lot of this. Rosario Dawson's in it. Lakeith Stanfield is playing one of the main characters.
Mhm.
I
okay.
do love me some Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah, he's good.
So
Okay, he's very good.
if I can't have a Jonathan Majors, I do like to have a Lakeith Stanfield in the wings. So I'll take a Lakeith Stanfield. Owen Wilson is playing a priest, I guess. And Tiffany Haddish is in
Yeah,
it.
Tiffany Haddish.
I'm not a big Tiffany
Why
Haddish
is Tiffany
person.
Haddish in it?
I feel
I'm
like if
always-
she's in a movie,
Not that I
it's
don't
not
hate
good.
her.
Right.
I
And
don't
then
hate her. I like Tuca and Birdie.
yeah, and a good one, Danny DeVito is rumored to be in it.
Love him.
They seem to be doing a thing where if you look at sort of there seems to be like a priest, a psychic, a history professor. Like I think they're bringing people into the mansion to like explore it or something. We'll see how kind of the plot lays
It's
out.
Giving comedy Haunted Mansion, and I don't like comedy Haunted
I don't like
Mansion.
No, I do not either. But let's talk about the best current rumor that we have. Would anyone like Saara, please
God.
tell us. Please tell us who's rumored for this movie.
Jared Leto's nasty ass is gonna be in this movie as the Hatbox Ghost. I'm sorry, Jared Leto is just gross. I don't like this.
me. I'm from the House of Gucci. I now have a hat in the box. He's so meta. He's gonna cut his own head off just to
he
really
would.
experience it.
He's
I don't-
very pretentious.
Here's the thing that's weird about this movie. Do you know who's directing it? It's the guy behind Dear White People. So it's got this interesting pedigree that
Okay.
Interesting.
could be interesting. The thing is it's written by she worked as a writer on Parks and Recreation, and she wrote The Heat for Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy.
Okay.
And
Alright.
wrote
So it's a
the
comedy.
yeah,
Mhm.
and she wrote the 2016. I don't want to call it the Girl Ghostbusters movie, but it's not the newest one. Is what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
get it. Yeah, I
yeah.
got you.
Listen, okay,
The
Danny
one that was.
DeVito.
We won't talk about that one too much, but
Yeah.
it had its moments. But yeah, so that's who we have sort of doing this movie. I don't know.
Okay, we only have a few more years with Danny DeVito, and I
Mhm.
would rather his time
Wait,
be
why
spent
would
on
you say
Hercules.
that?
I'm just being realistic, y'all. Like, I would rather his time be spent on Hercules than this. Like, can
Oh,
we please?
you're right.
Can
We
we
all know
please?
he needs to play. I mean, it's gonna be a CGI version, but he's still got a
Yeah.
voice and do the mocap.
Exactly. Can we just please shift our attention? Like, I don't know who we need to talk to.
He
Petition
is 77
something.
years old, just so we're clear.
Yeah,
He
like,
is?
He
Yeah.
is. Like, he's
What I
getting up
like
there.
though is that Harrison Ford is 80, and when you compare them, Danny DeVito looks like he should be 120. So
Oh.
I love me some Danny DeVito.
Yes, everybody loves Danny DeVito, but it's just like,
Right.
God forbid, God forbid. I'm
God
praying
forbid.
that nothing happens to my boy, but I would rather his attentions be shifted. Can we please get the budget somewhere else?
Can we
to a
talk
movie
about
that we could all
for
watch?
5 seconds? I want to talk about not Jared Leto, but I want to talk about Gen Z's love of Danny DeVito, which I think is a very specific thing. It's
I don't know
true.
why. It really is.
Yeah,
He just,
and
like,
it
he's just
doesn't
an
come.
icon.
It doesn't really come from It's Always Sunny. I think it does a little
Mhm.
bit for millennials. So a lot of millennials like skipped him, and then like I don't know, they had Matilda maybe, and then it was It's
Yeah.
Always Sunny.
That was my first introduction to him was Matilda.
Me too.
Yeah, a lot of people, and I think Gen Z really, I don't know, somehow dug out that movie.
Damn good movie.
which he directed. So
Did he?
yeah,
Huh, huh.
yeah,
Well,
he's
See,
yeah.
classic icon. Love him.
icon. We agree.
He's
We
an
all
icon.
agree.
Maybe he can direct this movie. I don't know.
That would be a much
Ah.
different movie. So,
I mean,
but I don't know.
doesn't
But
seem
Jared
like-
Leto, I mean, you got to be joking me. You're
just-
gonna go on the D23 stage and confirm that Jared Leto is playing one of the most iconic ghosts in your
Why
attraction?
do they insist on forcing this man down our damn throats?
I
For
don't know.
reals.
And I also don't. I don't understand. I do not understand how. If I'm Bob Chapek, and again, I'm not if I'm Bob Chapek, because if I'm Bob Chapek, I'm doing terrible things, right? But if I'm in his position, I just give $20 million to Guillermo del Toro and say, "You are a Academy Award-winning
Literally.
director. Go make the scariest haunted mansion movie you want, right? Like, just do it,
Yeah.
because we've already had the goofy one. Like, make it spooky, scary, fun, and go."
And we
Whatever you
just
need.
had the Muppet version. So it's like, I don't want a real life Muppet version. Like, it just,
I'm tired.
Even though the Muppet one was
no
good.
more. The Muppet
Right.
one was good as shit.
it was
but
good.
Like, it's the Muppets. They can do
Exactly.
no wrong. But
Yeah.
like, I just don't want funny haunted mansion. No more. I
I-
want Phantom Manor. That's what
How
I
is
want.
Jared Leto
Yeah.
gonna be in a comedy? To me, he just has always been like a quote unquote a serious actor.
Yeah.
He's been in like a lot of serious roles. So he takes himself a little too seriously, in my
I
opinion.
mean,
but
he was funny in House of Gucci, but not on purpose.
yeah, not on purpose.
I don't think.
I'm
But
still trying to finish it, and you're not wrong.
no, you
Did I
stay
tell
for
you I walked out of that movie?
no. You walked out of
walked
House
out
of
of
House
Gucci?
of Gucci.
I walked out. Okay, there was multiple reasons why I walked out, but it was, first of all, not a good movie. Second of
Multiple
all,
reasons.
yes. Okay.
I'm intrigued now because I'm
Okay.
only halfway
All right.
through.
So we went to go see House of
What's wrong
Gucci.
with you people? Halfway through, you left for multiple reasons.
I-
like
okay.
it's so specific. Okay, go ahead.
But this movie, I was so excited for because I was like, oh my god, like it looks so cool. Like it just, I don't know. I love Adam Driver.
Ridley
I'm a total
Scott.
stan.
and- Yeah, there's lots of reasons.
Right.
Yeah, like it looked cool from the trailer. So I was like, okay, you know, I can, for Jared Leto we can ignore, but you know, whatever. So during the movie, we were sitting next to this couple, and I guess the girl read the book, and every single time she would look over to her boyfriend and be like, oh my god, this is where da 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 da. And she ended up
Oh no.
close your ears, Victoria. She ends up doing this and this to him. Da, 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 da. And we were just like, I literally had to turn to her and I was like, have you seen this movie? And she was just like, no. And I was like, okay, then why are you talking? Like, why are you talking right now? Why are you spoiling the whole plot? And then there was like people that were all the way down like our row, and it was kind of like, it was when Omicron was kind of coming back. So it was like
Mhm.
still COVID-y. So there
Yeah.
was like this
Mask wearing
couple-
going on.
yeah, like there was like this group of people and this couple who were like, first of all, shoes off, gross. And they were just like coughing
Ew.
up a storm, laughing. Like it was absolutely, like it was just gross. Like I couldn't handle it. And then the movie was just like, after that sex scene, it was like a little, ugh. So
A little
walked out.
is like, I mean, it was kind of hot. I don't know.
It was
Like
just too much
I
for
mean,
me.
too
It was
much?
too much.
It happened.
It
Yeah.
happened. I don't know. To me, it was a little much. But,
Oh, I didn't know you were. I didn't know you were such a Jane Austen sort of dainty
Oh
flower.
no. Okay, not like
So I was
that.
like, I ain't no freak. I'm over here.
I just
I
sometimes
don't know anything. I'm an innocent, sweet
cover my
person.
Like,
eyes. You
okay,
know?
Elizabeth Doolittle.
But it was just like it just was very like jarring, I think.
Sure.
Because it was like I don't know, it wasn't out of nowhere, but to me it was just like ugh, like
Yeah.
it just I couldn't get it out of my head that it was Adam Driver and Lady Gaga. Does that make sense?
Sure, I get that. I
So
thought
it
Adam
just-
Adam Driver just looks great as an Italian. So
He really does.
Yeah.
He's Adam Driver, just always gonna stand no matter if the role is good or bad.
Right.
But you know, it just walked out of the movie. Awful experience.
Well, I'm sorry to hear
For
that.
some reason just like dropped my ever since that movie, I've gone to the movies a lot less. So which is crazy. Because we used to go like 2 to 3 times to the movie theater. So like
Come
a
on
week.
now.
So like
get on it.
movies were like we were always on it. So
You're ruining the movie industry. Guys, this is
I
how
think-
little we have to talk about this week because we're
Yeah.
talking about House of Gucci in August 22.
yeah.
But
That
anyway,
movie was
getting
ass.
back to Haunted Mansion, it's yeah. That's the rumors of the casting, and we'll see where everything goes. But of course, we've already been talking about how we're gonna do a little Oracle of Walt, a little bit of predictions. So D23 is currently a month away. The plan is, as of right now, we are not going to have an episode recorded the Thursday before D23 because that would be insane. So we are instead, if everything goes to plan, all right, we'll keep you guys updated. The plan is we are going to have a shorter podcast for every single day of D23. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we will have one to talk about the Disney and Pixar films. We'll have one to talk about Marvel and Star Wars, and we'll have one to talk about the Disney theme parks. That's the plan. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. So we'll get there. But we are going to, with a month away, we're going to do some oracling ourselves. What do you guys think? What do you predict? What are your big predictions for what happens at D23 at these panels? Any thoughts?
People mover. Tomorrowland overhaul, please. I'm begging.
Girl, that is a lost cause.
At Disneyland, we need it so bad, y'all. I hope we see more of the Pixar Avatar movie. I want to see more of that. I forget what it's called.
Did you say the
Oh,
Pixar Avatar movie?
Yeah, the Elements one.
Okay. Oh, the Elements one.
Oh,
Because
wait,
So that's
I
what
was
I
like,
think about it.
wait, we've expanded the Avatar series beyond these live action movies?
No. Because
you
when I
gotta
first
say the
saw it,
last Airbender.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
last
airbending.
Airbender, the Avatar, the last Airbender Pixar version. I want to
The
see
pi-
more of that.
The Pixar version of the last Airbender, which is
Yeah.
the one that Andy saw when he was in. That's why he bought the toy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
we got it. Very
Exactly,
easy
that
to
one.
understand.
Yeah. So I want to see it. So I want to see more from that. Hopefully, we get like maybe a teaser or something.
I'm definitely banking on 40th Epcot stuff
Oh, interesting.
because there's not been a peep out of that.
I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that.
Yep, that's coming up. It's very soon. It's
Very
literally
soon. That's
October.
why I'm like they're gonna use D23 to be like, we're gonna do this. Moana is gonna do this. I mean, I'm gonna assume they're gonna do the announcements and then cancel them like in a few years. But
Yeah. I think you have at best. I think you have them saying they're going to finish the middle section of Epcot in Future World. And by that I mean they're going to lay grass and the stage will get there when it gets there. But at the 40th it'll be like, hey, look, grass. Like you can now walk from one side to the other. Which is actually be nice.
I just want them to put trees. Let's have an announcement for trees, please, all over Epcot.
do you know how lit I would be for trees or a
Just to
chair?
not see
A
construction
bench?
walls. Yeah, I would be very thrilled just
Yeah.
for that.
Some shade. God damn.
I think you have more of an opportunity for something on the West Coast getting announced than here in Disney World. I think
I think
Disney
so
World
too.
is-
It's time.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
It's time. Yeah, they haven't
Well,
really done anything.
We'll probably see some stuff from the Disneyland Forward project. You don't think?
maybe. I feel like that's got backburnered pretty hard. I think, but
Dang.
Yeah.
we'll see. I think
Mm.
that at best we're going to get. I mean, we're going to get something. I agree. I think they're going to talk about Play Pavilion. I think they're going to talk about, and that's of course here at Epcot. I think they're going to announce the season for the opening of Tron.
Tiana's.
They are already saying they're
Tiana's. They are.
previewing Tiana's,
Yeah.
so that counts for both coasts. That might be what you get for the West Coast.
The only thing I can really see is if the rumor is true that they're turning Tarzan's treehouse into Encanto themed.
I mean,
They
they're doing
better,
something
because
yeah.
at this point there's nothing like the fact
There's
I
really
don't know
nothing.
who tweeted it. I don't know if it was you, Victoria, but it was talking about how like the energy that Frozen got versus Encanto, like it's just
Oh, yeah,
absolutely
that was me.
ridiculous. That was you, yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
I want to see like something like it would make sense to have an Encanto, the treehouse, like
Yeah,
but that
I
would be
think
such
so.
a small announcement. I feel like
I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see. They have a lot of stuff that sort of they have all this money that they're now putting back in the parks, but I don't think they're going to be willing to tell us much at this point.
but they've already been announcing things like throughout the year.
Yeah.
So
So
it
what are they
doesn't
holding
really
back?
feel like there's anything new. I don't
If
really.
anything, it's probably going to be Marvel heavy, if anything.
But
But then
that's
we
all
just had
again.
Comic-Con.
It's all preview stuff. I think they
Well,
will
they still
announce
have,
some more
yeah,
stuff.
it's just preview stuff. It's just
But
preview stuff.
it's gonna be a new
'cause,
trailer
yeah.
for Wakanda Forever. There'll be a new trailer. There'll probably be a teaser for Haunted Mansion. There's probably gonna be a teaser for Indiana Jones 5.
Oh,
'Cause
maybe
that's
phase
done.
2 for Avengers Campus. Maybe they'll talk about that.
Maybe.
Maybe they'll finally open that freaking e-ticket ride y'all was supposed to get.
Good luck.
Come, let's
Good
be for
luck.
real. That's been canceled, girl. Like that's not
They've turned that
happening.
building into a meet and greet. They're
Yeah,
very
that
excited.
it's not.
Yeah.
That building's a break room. Like, let's be real.
That's a nice break room then.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think we're. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what's going to be like new. And all I can think of is like, okay, new Pinocchio trailer, new like
As far as like
ah,
parks, well, they got the Disney 100 anniversary.
Or
Maybe they're gonna
anything.
do stuff with that.
you know, they may talk about the 100th. That's
They have
coming
a
up.
panel for it.
Maybe magic happens. Maybe that'll come back. Maybe they'll.
I think everyone would be happy for
Literally anything.
here's my you want to guess? Okay, give us a wild card. Does anyone have any wild cards for was it dark horses? Your dark horse calls here. Here's my dark horse call. You ready for it?
Okay. All right, I'm ready.
They are going to bring the electric parade to Magic Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
You know what?
It's
I
something.
I believe that 65% only because the reason they haven't brought a nighttime parade back is because of the flow issue once the parade ends. But
Right.
I can see them doing it.
You don't create a whole new float, use it for 5 minutes like they did at Disneyland, and then put it back in storage. That thing's going
Yep,
somewhere.
yep.
Exactly.
But yeah, so that's my dark horse. I think we're gonna get the electrical parade at Magic Kingdom.
I'm
Anybody
still
else?
sticking by People Mover. I think it's gonna happen. I really think it's gonna happen.
I hope for your
or
sake.
something like I really feel like something with Tomorrowland has to happen at this point. Like I don't
agree.
think they can
It
let
really
it go on for
does.
this long. So hopefully I think that's where I'm betting.
Okay, Victoria, do you have one?
I do. And you know what? It's probably crazy as shit. They gonna put Bob's Burgers something in Hollywood Studios.
Oh,
think
you want my
so?
rumor?
Yeah.
You want my idea? I'll take it.
No, it was my idea, but you enhanced it.
Well, that's true. We'll say we'll say I fleshed out your initial concept into
You
my
guys
own
better
concept.
go put in that invoice if that happens.
Yeah, I agree.
know,
We're gonna
right?
sue if they do it without
Because
permission.
we
I know,
can,
right?
it's time stamped. There are days we know when it was
Yeah.
when we said it. So
I don't know. My concern, of course, I think they might do if they did something, it'd be a little shack. But my concern is that the movie is done and they're going to sort of be like, all right, the show's going to keep going, but like, do they want to do a push? Do they want to do more?
I felt like they were gonna kind of treat it like The Simpsons in a way,
I was hoping.
which is why, and that's what I was banking on, which is why I was like, maybe they'll put it not even in studios, but maybe they'll put it somewhere in California Adventure and kind of make it like IOA in a way.
Is
like
there-
how they
there's
have
a-
a Simpson land?
There's a Paradise pier section that's not Pixar-fied, right? Isn't there something?
yes,
Yes.
that's what we said
It's-
when we were talking about it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's
like,
California themed.
Yeah, the Golden Zephyr area and the Jumping Jellyfish.
Okay,
Goofy Sky
so
School
those could
section.
Those could turn into.
But I'm
fish
hoping for a
odors.
Coco Dark ride over there. So
Okay, all right.
that's what I'm kind of wanting. I really
Ooh.
do. I want something Encanto or Coco themed in California Adventure. Like it just needs to
Yeah.
happen in that
I
area. 'cause it's-
Doable.
yeah, it really is. In that area,
Yeah.
it totally is.
I may
Um,
add Coco officially coming to the Mexico Pavilion in the
Oh.
ride, but I think, as I've always said, is you have to gut that building to have enough queue space. So I really don't think that's going to happen. So I'm going to stick.
I mean, the thing is, those panels that the pavilions are on are meant to expand.
Yeah.
But
There's enough
I
space in
mean,
the
with
back.
Mexico, That's my thing. So
you could do something off to the side, I think. But anyway, I'm gonna stick with mine, and you know what? I like all your guys's. Well, hopefully something will come up. But we are going to now move to the other side of the world, over to Tokyo Disney Sea for Beware Our Guest international version. We don't get this
it's
very
very
often.
rare. It's very rare. This is
For
such
this
a
region
treat.
especially.
So, a guest at Tokyo Disney Resort, which are very, very rule oriented. Like they do not suffer fools over there. Both cast members and guests. The guest, who looks like he's in his 20s or whatever, sort of, there's a fountain there. It is think of a water kind of moat, and then in the middle there are several tigers, kind of statues that spit water. They have water that's coming out of their mouth and falling into the thing. This gentleman has jumped over the water, and he is crouching with the tigers and getting a photo. So he is climbing all over this fountain, to, I guess, get some media clout, or we'll see why he's doing this. I guess it's just a fun photo, and of course this was posted online, and that's getting him some notoriety. It doesn't say anything about him getting kicked out of the parks or anything like that. It seems like he
Oh, it
got
says
away
here
with
he
it.
got asked to leave.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he got asked to
without
leave.
incident, I should say. There you go. That's the Japanese difference. Here, some guy in Jersey punches you in the face. This is interesting, right? We just don't have these very often, so I thought I'd bring that up. A unique Disney Sea.
It seems to be
Beware
a trend
Our
though, happening in Tokyo Disney Sea. They're
There's
saying
a-
that it's like
Yeah.
it's an ongoing TikTok thing.
They have
So.
they have some weird TikTok social. I sound like a very old. They have some weird. These kids. But no, one of the things that if there's like one IKEA in Japan. I think it's in Tokyo. And everyone goes to that IKEA and takes photos and posts like they're in LA.
Yes, it's called America Core. Like
Yeah.
it's like a thing.
That
and
is
there's
a
also,
thing.
and Costco Core. Apparently, like this also happens in China, where like there's like a fake Costco that like these Instagram girls or TikTok people like will go and they'll take pictures in front of it and act like they're in America.
Yeah.
Very
My
interesting.
favorite is when they act like they're Southern Americans.
Yeah, no, it's
Because it's so exaggerated, but at the same time, it's real life.
right.
I mean, I can't give them too much crap because I go to Epcot all the time and take photos. Like I'm in different areas.
That's
of the world,
true.
So,
Yeah.
but if America to them is IKEA, a Swedish company. So what are you gonna do?
Yay.
Always fun. So
This
that's
is
our Beware Our
interesting,
Guest.
Yeah.
To finish off the night, though, we have ourselves a mailbag, and this deals with something that we were talking about, the X-Men 97 or the X-Men 92 cartoon, and then of course the new one coming out, the X-Men 97. And our good friend Jean Grey had some thoughts on that, thoughts on X-Men, of course. Being named Jean Grey online would suggest so. And let's see here. It says, "Dearest, darlingest rat bastards, to help clarify your questions regarding X-Men 97's relevance to the MCU, the short answer is none. It's a sequel and continuation of the X-Men 92 animated series with no tie-in to the MCU. Meanwhile, cut to me watching the Phase 5-6 announcements like Wanda Maximoff screaming, 'Where are my babies?' Thank you, as always, for the pod and everything you do. Love always, your resident expert, right? X-Men and Rat
clever.
Queen, Jean Grey. So thank you so much for that, Jean. It's good to hear from you. And yeah, where are your X-Men babies? Hopefully, I'd watch that too. X-Men babies.
Oh, I just got the reference. It's a House of M reference. Oh, that was smart.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's sort of where we're at with all of that. It's a slow week, but I think we provided you with some entertainment. And of course, it's always good to hang out with the both of you. So thanks for being on. Hopefully we'll have a whole crew coming up here. Hopefully everyone will be back and feeling well and out of vacation. But of course, this podcast is produced by my brain, which is owned by me, Nathan Hartman. And please consider subscribing if you don't want to miss an episode. We appreciate it. Tell your friends. We're always trying to push this thing out. You can visit our website, which is at ratcastlepodcast@podbean.com. And as we said in the mailbag, right, you can send questions to us. You can find all our links to all our different streaming services for the podcast at bit.ly/ratcastle. And now with all of that, grab your belongings and exit to the left.
Will you stop this foolishness?
What foolishness would you like to see?
Will you get out of here?